Alright. Let's go to the place where Angela gave the
see if you can find anything worth watching.
First, another episode to see more of what
Welcome
happened
back
to Quark.
to
Why
Behind the
not?
Hero. In yet
I wonder
another
if we're
setback
foreshadowing
where he battled
something.
Captain Quark,
I mean,
the
he's stuck
Galactic
in the
Corps
other
ordered
galaxy.
him to
I'm
pay
not sure
6
there's much
billion
he can
volts
do.
in damages to citizens suffering from personal hygienator syndrome. Only 2 days later, Quark was arrested trying to flee to Poketaru. The one-time hero, now full-time Zero, was placed in custody awaiting trial. But the next day it was discovered that he had escaped, flushing himself to freedom. We will return
Through the
to
toilet.
Behind the Hero.
Cartoon
These
logic.
messages.
The body mass does not match the toilet.
It's cartoon
Maybe
logic.
You know, it's kind of
Maybe-
funny. I think I mentioned, I think there's a cutscene in the beginning. No, there you go. Just to mention, you're basically inside a giant factory, and there are a few things that you can do and will showcase. No, it's kind of funny. You know how in movies they love to actually have for interrogation or like bullying type of gimmick, someone's face shoved in a toilet, you know? And then you actually, when you get to, you know, any real-world toilet, you ask how they will do that because the entrance of a fucking toilet is, you know, much smaller than a head of a person, you know. It's just... Anyway, I think what I'm about to do is that this planet introduces the new type of shop. It will not be super frequent. The armor vendor, because yes, like I said, this game introduces the concept of different armors, which give you different points of, you know, the points of defense. In this case, the Tetra Fiber armor. Thankfully, with me grinding with a Volt in the previous, in between parts, I'm able to afford this very easily. And it's like the previous, you know, armor. It's just that it's colored cyan. You know, I guess a slightly darker shade, more tendent to blue, but it's still relatively light to be cyan. It's not bad, and I argue it's still better than the green default one, but it's still pretty anonymous, you know, at the end of the day.
If only there were a color that we could settle on in the future, perhaps.
We'll see. Well, even for this very game, there might be one. I will be able to showcase all of the armor anyway.
You know, regarding Quark, you see, Tio, despite his muscular appearance, his skin is actually very malleable due to how his race.
So it's like a cat, you know, as long as the bows can pass, the rest of the body mass can. Good to know.
Precisely.
As showcased by Halle Berry during the climax of Catwoman 2003. God, that was so stupid.
2004.
Sorry.
It's funny how we've now apparently got something of a return to 2004 style superhero movies in the guise of Madam Web. Like, that movie really checks off all, and I do mean all, the points of
Much
early
like
2000 superhero movies.
much like the Borderlands movie is very similar to the Balls Blood Rain. I guess it's a thing that we're coming full circle, and someone might even dare to say that there's something akin to early 2000 nostalgia. Be very afraid.
It really feels like Madam Web was built off of nostalgia for the era where comic book movies were afraid to, you know, be comic book
I mean,
movies.
look, Deadpool and Wolverine having Jennifer Garner as Elektra, you know, I understood for consistency, even if I really don't like the Elektra movie, and I really don't think Jennifer Garner is a good actress in general, nor she was fitting for the Elektra role. But again, you know, consistency's sake, because it's a deliberate callback, I understand that, you know. But Madam Web, on the other hand, is just a mess on its own.
It was another bout of Sony once again thinking, hey, we can totally make a cinematic Spider-Man universe using everyone in the kitchen sink except for Spider-Man himself. Never mind the fact that Madam Web actually blatantly steals a scene shot from Spider-Man 2, which everyone pegged the moment it showed up on screen.
Okay, yeah, it was even data leakage, if I recall correctly, that showcased that no, Sony really was under the impression that because the Venom movie worked, they could have just, you know, bank on the Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man, you know, for years to come. You know, that's why they have kept going until Kraven, and they had plans for stuff like El Muerto.
See, they ignored two crucial details. One, Venom is hella popular. He's not only one of the big three of Spider-Man villains, but it's Venom. He was the shadow to Spider-Man Sonic. He was popular enough to helm several titles of his own, arguably even to this day. It helps also that, well, Venom is kind of a darker Spider-Man. He's basically Spider-Man with all the abilities and some extra added stuff thanks to the symbiote. However, major point number 2, they got insanely lucky with the Venom movie. Like, I remember, I was there. Everyone was writing off that movie as a failure. Even Tom Hardy himself was doing the sacrilegious thing of bad-mouthing the movie that he was supposed to promote.
I still think it sucks. Like, I understand that he made a lot of money and everything, but I still don't think it's good. Just saying.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, yeah, I absolutely agree. Now, I can get why people enjoy it. And I do think Let There Be Carnage was an improvement. Still not really great or even good. But the thing is, the Venom movie hit just the right combination of silly 90s action with some 90s nostalgia. They even got flipping Eminem to help out the music on that, essentially.
I will argue it's more akin to early 2000s comic book movies, specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. I say more so the 90s because at least the Venom movie doesn't feel ashamed of being a comic book movie. Although I guess to be fair, Raimi's Spider-Man was also
You also have to remember again, it's not outright confirmed because unfortunately that hasn't leaked yet, but I'm still hoping it does. That originally was supposed to be R-rated and there's literally 40 minutes cut. Anyway,
no.
Before that, first thing to do, this guy.
Nobody gets by the
Okay, Blaze and Pedro, you know wrestling better than me. Is there a guy with a gimmick like this?
Zero, before the mathematician subtracts your head from your shoulder.
Nah, this just sounds like this just looks like a generic wrestling joke.
Not in
honestly.
appearance. I wanted to know if there actually was someone who actually has lives.
The closest I can think of is a guy called Shane Douglas.
Oh no, watch this. Clank, what the fuck? What? He was like in the Rocky cycle.
But he played more of a... His character was more of a teacher in the WWF world the brief time he was there in the mid-90s, because that was another occupation of his in real life.
Alright, this is Return of... just to mention quickly, this is Return of Giant Clank, and now it's used properly for, you know, mostly boss fight, because yes, we have to fight again the leader of the Tax for Less, in this case. And this is the moment where the game drops the ball with a boss fight, because this is the first major time one of the bosses is spongy as shit. This guy will require a bit of time to actually deal with, and you need to watch out because your health can get depleted very fast by the reinforcement, and you need to be careful about the buildings you smash because they are finite. So, and once you actually run out of them, you will also run out of health pickup. So again, overall, watch out.
I never hated this boss fight. I actually had fun with it.
Oh no, it's not the worst, but it's the beginning, you know. It's here where the bells start ringing, basically.
Also, regarding that wrestler guy, given he had 3 fingers, I'm assuming he's a part of the same species that Quirk is.
Basically, the general rule of thumb is all mostly humanoid characters that resembles more of a human being tend to have 3 fingers in order to avoid the question of, oh, is this set in, you know, in the universe where the real life Earth exists, stuff like that.
Seriously, are Deck 9's games coded by monkeys or something? Why is it in practically every game of theirs I find these things?
Well, Pedro, according to the logo, because this was not before Deck 9 rebranded as Deck 9, according to the logo of this was apparently coded by Moai statues. Anyway, since this counts also as a planetoid, you can zoom out and see where, you know, things are in relation to another. So.
It's starting to feel like a Godzilla game.
Well, yeah,
it's
pretty clear Insomniac is also a fan of traditional kaiju movies. He will even have, you know, a recreation of that kind of set in the third game. So.
I will say, I do like how the game doesn't penalize you for building destruction, because some games sadly do that.
Yeah, like, isn't that the whole thing about why people prefer playing as a Decepticons instead of the Autobots in the first Transformers tie-in game?
Yes, in Transformers the 2007 tie-in game, if you're playing as a Decepticon, you get rewarded for building destruction. If you're playing as an Autobot, yeah, no, it's not encouraged.
So, fun.
I don't think you're outright punished for it, but you will sort of lock yourself out of some of the bonuses if you do too much of it. That, or it just flashes X's for no reason. I'll admit, when playing those games, I wasn't always going for all the extras. I should really revisit that game. I still had fun as both classes, but yeah, no, like, Decepticons are the only story that actually rewards you for destruction.
If you notice, some of the buildings' windows texture tend to flicker if you pay attention to them. Mostly because they have to symbolize three different states. Fully, you know, stable, cracked, because, you know, they're about to fall, and actually, you know, damaged enough to actually properly fall.
You know, in regards to Blue Point's remasters turning out great even on the PS3, I wonder if it's because they kind of got the most experience with the PS3.
Not really, Joel. Remember, the God of War HD collection was literally the second ever thing they've made.
Again, it's really just that simple. They're good at their job.
They're just that good. Because the first ever thing when they first established was, they went to Sony and they were like, okay, you guys have no games to release on the PlayStation Network at launch, so how about we make one for you? And they were like, okay, sure. So they made this game called Blast Factor, which was basically a typical shooter, space shooter type thing, right? After that, Santa Monica wanted to remaster the God of War 1 and 2 for the PS3 before God of War 3 came out, but they couldn't afford to remaster those games while at the same time making God of War 3, so they had to get outsourced. And Sony was the one who told them, well, these guys made Blast Factor in like a super fast time, maybe they can do it. And Blue Point, of course, this was a chance for them to work with God of War, so obviously no way they were going to refuse. And the rest is history.
Including recent history, but yeah. Alright, we're done. I don't remember what exactly you get. I don't remember what exactly you get as a reward, but we're about to find out.
I always find it funny that they have you fly to a whole nother planet.
It's considered a moon, quote unquote, but they just recycled the animation.
Divide and conquer, huh? Hey, guess you guys were prime after all. You're going to the MegaCorp games!
Alright,
I guess we can assume he saw us.
Sponsored by MegaCorp.
Alright, more American Gladiator style games.
Get ready to grapple with our MegaCorp Gladiator team. And if you survive that, enter the MegaCorp Battle Arena with our Mega Spider Bot and our Mega Death-defying Mega Cage match.
It's always a mechanical spider bot.
The all MegaCorp Hoverbike Race, brought to you by Team MegaCorp Racing. Hostile indigenous population not owned, endorsed, sponsored, or even liked by MegaCorp. Approach your own risk.
Well, that cameraman's dead.
MegaCorp Games, keep it mega.
Well, I guess we will get there eventually.
But yeah, no, I mean, as a kid, I always wondered, why not just have the boss fight happen on this planet? Just, you know, maybe have...
Again, they just wanted to have the planetoid gimmick. Again, it's even the animation, it's not too dissimilar to when Ratchet actually goes to that jamming station on the Makar Nebula that we see in the early parts.
It's fair enough. I've always just found it so awkward that they need to have Clank literally fly to another planet just to do the fight, and then fly back. Which, I guess the wrestler guy must have had a camera on that planet to have seen us fight.
I guess.
He congratulates us.
Let's just assume it's the case.
Now that's the thing, Jova, like, the one major difference that I can tell you, is that according to Mark Frosch from Bluepoint, they always go out of their way not to use the source code of their games, because most likely what happened here is the company that
I don't mind the more called
that's it.
Like you said, that's why I made the joke about the Moai statue, Pedro.
Sure. Idlemind did probably just use the source code that Insomniac had, but Mark Frosch said that they always, whenever a publisher gives them the source code for them to remaster, they always refuse the source code. No, we don't want to use the source code. We want to go back to the actual discs that were shipped and reverse engineer them. The reason they do this is because, according to Mark, there's always some minor last-minute alterations in between the source code being finalized and the game actually releasing, and they want to carry that over as well. So basically, it's just a matter of Bluepoint just being much more thorough and much more hardworking compared to other companies at the time.
Especially because, in comparison, Night Dive, basically the equivalent of them, but mostly for PC shooters, them, they tend to operate instead on that kind of classic approach of wanting the source code for things. That's why they were able to do quite a lot of gameplay changes for their remastered version of the Thing video game, which, yes, again, the original version was just that kind of unplayable.
I can actually... Sorry.
Go on.
I will say, that detail you gave, though, does explain why Bluepoint's ports to PS3 or remasters and whatnot, why they definitely stood above the rest. Like, actually doing things from scratch instead of just trying to work off of the source code, since one of the main issues with the PS3 was it was a little too much of a different beast from the PS2, essentially. So I can imagine a lot of companies had difficulties trying to adhere that source code to the PS3.
It also has to do with the fact that Bluepoint has their own engine, the Bluepoint engine. So the remasters are running...
Okay, this must be the core terminal. Let's see what we can get from it.
The power.
No, you push the destruct button, we're all gonna die! Ah!
I better call a MegaCorp.
Alright, it needs to be fixed first, I forgot. Go on, Pedro, in the meantime, I just need to chase the repair, bro. Go on.
Okay. So all of their remasters, even the God of War ones, are running on their own custom engine that they themselves made. So it's their own tech that they're using, everything that was made specifically for this purpose. Here, I can give you another example of what happened, Jova. Like, back when the original PS4 release of Kingdom Hearts 1.5 plus 2.5 happened, the PS4 release specifically, where the games were upgraded to 60 FPS for the first time, right? There were some bugs caused by the 60 FPS upgrade that later had to, on Kingdom Hearts 2, that later had to be fixed via patches, right? Not on Kingdom Hearts 1, though, even though that game was also originally for the FPS. You're probably wondering why Kingdom Hearts 2 had trouble with the 60 FPS at first, but not 1. Because... remember, as Nomura specified, they lost the original source code for Kingdom Hearts 1 because Square Enix at the time was completely, utterly incompetent in preserving their shit, right? So they had to rebuild, literally, according to Nomura, they had to get the original Final Mix PS2 discs and reverse engineer those.
Using making a Frankenstein monster incorporating assets from 3D. They didn't mention interviews.
Yeah, basically the code for Kingdom Hearts 1 HD is completely new code made from scratch and therefore much easier to work with compared to the old PS2 code of Kingdom Hearts 2. So
ironically, they actually helped it by losing the source code in that regard.
Well, however, Jova, only in the way that, it required more work for them to do than just a simple conversion. As in, the end result turned out, well enough, but they had to, sweat more to make sure that it worked.
Oh, yeah.
Classic case of art from adversity, yeah.
It's because, like I said, Square Enix, for whatever reason, thought, we should not preserve our work for the future for whatever reason. That's ridiculous.
All right,
here we go. Let's get the goods on that experiment.
It's all Toho now when it comes to King Kong versus Godzilla.
I think I see the problem.
What? Now even the computers are charging us? That's it.
Yeah, I kind
This
of
galaxy
agree.
flows.
Like, 10,000 balls
James
for all of
reporting on
these.
MegaCorp
Come
experiment
on.
number 13.
10,000
This
quid!
update is strictly classified. If you are watching this, you're fired. Early thinking held that the specimen was entirely docile in nature.
Yeah,
Even
this is
overt
showcasing
provocation
why the
failed to
prototype
incite
is
it.
particularly
But the late
aggressive,
Dr.
if you've
Putrid
noticed
son
so
observed
far,
that
because
natural
the
levels
scientists
of
at
monster
MegaCorp are
proteinases
kind
in
of
experimental
morons.
bloodstream were triggering some remarkable changes. Attempts at
So you
neutralizing
know
the
what? I
specimen's
think you
violent
actually deserve
tendencies were
this.
met with limited success. Our surviving staff recommend that the experiment be destroyed immediately at MegaCorp's deep space disposal facility.
Wait a minute. But if it's supposed to be destroyed...
The computer's log indicates
Well,
that we
Ratchet
were
is
the first
about to
to get
reason.
recording.
So Fizwidget must not know.
Yeah, I guess it's a possibility.
We've got to warn him.
Again, you gotta love
Mr.
how, as far as our
Fizwidget,
heroes
you're
know,
safe.
a good chunk
Sir,
of the plot is
brace
caused
yourself.
by our
We just saw a
benefactor
video of your
kind of being a
experiment eating its
klutz.
handlers.
Again,
I
makes you
repeat,
wonder how
it
this company is
eats
actually
its
making
handlers.
managing to work with this guy. The hell.
Low fat, extra foam, no spring.
Insider
Mr.
trading.
Fizwidget, do you copy? Anyone handling the
I
experiment...
mean, I also say that.
Also,
I also say that, but the real world keeps actually proving more and more to be like a cartoonish passing
my
game.
frontmost cushion.
Yeah, Jovi said
Sir,
that. I think the
your experts
Eugene his
recommend
ears
that the
have burned.
experiment be liquidated. We will meet you at your deep space disposal facility.
He is not alright.
Ah, yes, my cheap date proposal.
Was he ever alright to begin with?
It's heavily guarded, so
Well,
make
again,
sure to
Shadow
use
the
the
Hedgehog
password.
suggested that.
Which is,
Yeah, Ratchet face
Quirtastic.
palming says it all.
Toodaloo.
Alright, that's where we need to go
Thanks,
technically
Miss-
next.
Thanks, video, for charging us 10,000 bolts just to get information that should kind of come free
Alright,
of charge.
before doing that, however, let me use this time, since I'm powerful enough now, to showcase you the two exclusive bosses for the arena in Maktar. Specifically starting with Shaneblade. Again, most of your rewards here are just extra balls, you know, but it's the fact that these specific bosses do have proper design and specific movesets on their own, so you know, it's worth showcasing.
Very nice.
Shaneblade actually did become slightly popular enough to warrant so micro extra appearances in the franchise, usually when there is an up-end skin for some multiplayer modes. The thing about Shaneblade, obviously, well, as the name suggested, it was about, you know, the blades, so the trick is basically jumping at the right timing to avoid the frost of this week. But again, as you can see, it's relatively easy. Now, the other guy, the B2 Brawler, as you're about to see, is actually a bit of a different story.
From the planet Cerebella comes a colossal creation. Stand back for the
Mostly because you would think it's just a matter of dodging the projectiles, which, yeah, for the first time, but when he starts doing this shit, and it basically becomes a game of, you know, rope hopping, and as you can see, it's not particularly easy. I mean, it's not dealing that much of a damage, it's just more annoying than anything. There we go. And that's how Ratchet and Clank actually managed to make, you know, an arena fight actually go out of business. Oh well.
Yeah. That's us. We're heroes even if we have to disrupt bouts of commerce or capitalism. Some would say that makes us the good guys even more.
Alright then. Yeah, I think that's it. Again, more weapons to come also for the future. It's just a matter of, you know, gaining more balls. You'll be able to see. For the time being, in the next part, we will actually reach the first, if I recall correctly, first the deep space disposal. If I recall, either that or Jova, one of the two, because those are the two other destinations remaining. So see you for that.
See ya.
Bye.